Ever wondered how to grow mushrooms at home? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of home mushroom cultivation. It's a topic that's not only interesting, but incredibly beneficial. Imagine having fresh mushrooms at your fingertips, ready to elevate your culinary creations. You'll save money too, as growing your own is far more cost-effective than purchasing them at the grocery store. But perhaps the biggest perk of all is having complete control over the growing conditions, ensuring you're consuming the healthiest, most natural mushrooms possible. Plus, the process itself is wonderfully simple, making it accessible to beginners and those without a green thumb. You won't need a large investment or a lot of space to get started. With just a few basic supplies, you can transform a small corner of your home into a thriving mushroom garden. Ready to start your mushroom growing journey? Step 1 is gathering the necessary supplies. First things first, let's talk about what you'll need to get started. The primary ingredient, of course, is the mushroom spawn, which are essentially the seeds of your future fungi. You can find a variety of mushroom spawns online or perhaps at your local garden center. Next up is the growing medium, also known as the substrate. This is what your mushroom spawn will feed on to grow. Different types of mushrooms prefer different substrates, but a mixture of straw and wood chips works well for many varieties. You'll also need a container to hold your substrate and spawn. A clear plastic container with a lid works great, as it allows you to monitor your mushroom's progress without disturbing them. Finally, mushrooms require a dark, humid environment to thrive. A basement or a cupboard can do the trick, but if you don't have such a space, you can create a suitable environment using a humidity tent. With these supplies in hand, you're now ready to begin the process of growing your own mushrooms. Now let's get our hands dirty and prepare the substrate. The substrate is the bed where your mushrooms will grow. Think of it as the soil in a garden, but for mushrooms. It's the nutrient-rich medium that provides food and a conducive environment for the mushroom mycelium, the root system of the mushrooms, to thrive and eventually produce those delicious mushrooms we're aiming for. So how do we prepare this crucial component? Well, there are several options, but for beginners, straw or wood chips are the easiest and most accessible materials to use. Both are rich in the organic matter that mushrooms love. To prepare a straw substrate, you'll first need to chop the straw into small pieces, about 1 to 2 inches long. You can use a clean and sharp garden shear for this task. For wood chips, there's no need for chopping. The size they usually come in is perfect for our purpose. Now it's time to sterilize the substrate. Why do we need to do this? Well, the world is full of microorganisms, and while many are harmless, some could compete with your mushrooms for resources, or even worse, contaminate your crop. We don't want that, do we? You can sterilize your substrate by soaking it in hot water for an hour or two. The heat will kill off any potential competitors, leaving a clean slate for your mushrooms to colonize. After the soaking, drain the substrate well and let it cool down. It's crucial to ensure it's not too hot when we introduce the mushroom spawn. We don't want to cook our future mushrooms before they even have a chance to grow. Preparing the substrate might seem like a lot of work, but remember, this step is essential for a successful mushroom garden. It's like building a strong foundation for a house. With a well-prepared substrate, your mushrooms will have the best possible start in their growth journey. Once your substrate is ready and cooled, it's time to introduce the mushroom spawn. Now comes the exciting part, introducing the mushroom spawn to the substrate. Inoculation is the magical moment when we mix the mushroom spawn, our baby mushrooms, into the substrate we prepared earlier. It's a bit like planting a seed in a garden, only we're doing this indoors and on a much smaller scale. Now it's of utmost importance that everything is as clean as possible during this stage. Even the smallest amount of contamination can ruin our mushroom cultivation. So, make sure your hands and tools are clean. If you have one, a HEPA-filtered laminar flow hood is perfect for this task, but a clean kitchen counter will do the trick too. To begin, we're going to evenly spread our mushroom spawn throughout the substrate. This can be done by hand or with a sterilized spoon. The goal here is to distribute the spawn as evenly as possible, so each part of the substrate has an equal chance to be colonized by the mycelium. Once our spawn and substrate are thoroughly mixed, we can transfer them into our growing container. This could be a simple plastic bag or a more complex fruiting chamber, depending on your setup. Remember, the container must be clean and sterile too. Now we've got to create the perfect conditions for our little shroom babies to thrive. Mushrooms love a humid environment, so ensure your growing area maintains high humidity. A humidity dome or a spray bottle can help with this. Temperature is also crucial. Most mushrooms prefer temperatures between 60 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So find a spot in your home where the temperature stays within this range. Remember, too hot or too cold can halt the growth of your mushrooms or even kill them. After inoculation, patience is key. The mycelium needs time to colonize the substrate. It's like watching a plant grow. It won't happen overnight, but with the right care and conditions, you'll soon see the fruits of your labor. So, let's sit back, relax, and give our mushrooms the time they need to grow. It may take a few weeks, but trust me, the wait will be worth it. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction of harvesting your own homegrown mushrooms. After inoculation, patience is key. The mycelium needs time to colonize the substrate. While it might not look like much is happening, this is a crucial stage in mushroom cultivation. At this point, the mycelium, the vegetative part of a fungus, begins to grow. Picture it as a network of tiny white threads spreading throughout the substrate. It's a silent, invisible war against contaminants, and your role is to provide the perfect conditions for the mycelium to win. Maintaining the right temperature and humidity is key. A cooler environment, around 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and high humidity will encourage growth. But be patient. This process can take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. If you notice any odd smells or colors, this could be a sign of contamination. Don't panic! Contamination is a common obstacle and one that can often be resolved with some careful intervention. When the substrate is fully colonized, it's finally time for the mushrooms to start forming. The wait may be long, but the reward is a bounty of homegrown delicious mushrooms. The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. It's time to harvest your mushrooms. Now, how do you know when they're ready? The best time to harvest is just before the mushroom caps fully open up. You'll notice that the edges of the caps will start to flatten out, and that's your cue. Harvesting mushrooms is a delicate process. You don't want to damage the mycelium, the living body of the fungus that's been working so hard to produce these beautiful fruits. To harvest, you'll want to grasp the mushroom at the base of the stem, then gently twist and pull. It should come away easily. If you meet resistance, don't force it. Wait a bit longer and try again. After you've harvested your mushrooms, you'll want to store them properly to maintain their freshness. The best way to store mushrooms is in a paper bag in your refrigerator. This allows them to breathe while keeping them cool. They should last for about a week, but trust me, they're so delicious you'll probably eat them up long before then. Now let's talk about preparation. Mushrooms are incredibly versatile and can be used in a wide range of dishes. Sauté them in butter for a simple side dish, or add them to pasta, stir-fries, or soups. The possibilities are endless. Just remember to clean them gently with a damp cloth before use. Avoid soaking them in water as they can become waterlogged and lose some of their flavor. Finally, I encourage you to experiment. There are so many different types of mushrooms and substrates out there. Each one brings its own unique flavor and texture. So, don't be afraid to try something new. Who knows, you might find your new favorite mushroom. There you have it. Your very own homegrown mushrooms, ready to be enjoyed in your favorite dishes. Happy mushroom growing. Congratulations on your newfound mushroom growing skills. You've navigated through the fascinating process of home mushroom cultivation, from gathering supplies to harvesting your very own homegrown mushrooms. You've prepared the substrate, carefully inoculated it, patiently waited for the growth of mycelium, and finally, reaped the fruits of your labor. Remember, this is a learning process, so don't be disheartened if your first few attempts aren't as successful as you'd hoped. Like any skill, it takes time, practice, and a lot of patience. We encourage you to share your mushroom growing experiences and your delicious mushroom dishes. It's always exciting to see what other mushroom enthusiasts are up to. For those of you who are eager to learn more, there are countless resources available. From books to websites, the world of mushroom cultivation is vast and filled with knowledge waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining this mushroom growing journey. Remember, every mushroom grower started somewhere, and with practice, you'll become a pro in no time.